trust that it works.
Okay, I'm live. Hi.
It worked the second time. Yes. Okay, it worked the second time. Hi, Angela. Thanks.
Hi, how are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks for your patience, everybody. It took us 2 tries to get this to work, but all right. Christy Jones-Ray is moderating. So welcome, everybody. I'm Jen O'Connor at Earth Angel Studios Gallery, and I am with the amazing, beautiful, talented, awesome Angela Moulton.
Yay. Hi.
Yeah. And did you hear what our theme is this week at the gallery? Sort of, kind of, maybe in honor of you.
I do remember. I remember hearing it. It seemed interesting.
Texture and color fantasies. Ooh,
Oh,
sounds like
awesome.
every Angela Moulton painting I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's true.
And so we keep doing these themes and it's really fun. So this week it's texture and color, and we're starting off our studio hops with you.
Okay.
And this is we have 2 studio hops today. If anybody's watching, we're gonna be with Angela now for a half hour. Thank you, Angela, for doing this. Ro and Suzanne are watching.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention, what do you think of the beveled edges on that butterfly? Because that's a new kind of tile I had.
This one.
And, yeah, and they're beveled. Do you like that? Or do you like them?
Everybody's looking. This is a monarch butterfly, which, by the way, the only thing monarch butterflies eat is milkweed.
That's right.
If you have milkweed in your garden, don't cut it down, even if it's a weed. Right. This has like really wonderful beveled edges. I like this. I always say that your paintings are like, I want to bite them because they're so delicious. I think this is beautiful.
Okay, because I could order more of those if you like that look.
You know, I do. And one of the things that's wonderful about your paintings is they feel like they don't feel like a painting to me. They feel like an object I want to hold. I always want to pick up your work because it's so textured and so drenched with color. And so I like this beveled edge. If we can get any feedback from anyone that's watching, if you can see there's a little beveled edge on there.
Yeah, instead of like a right angle, it's kind of like a 45 degree. Yeah.
I like
okay.
So what are we going to do this week, Angela?
Well, I printed out the peonies because obviously they're gone. So, but we still need to finish this. Okay. So we're just going to add more details to it today.
So that's a picture of the display that you did 2 weeks ago. So Angela's been doing painting demos every Tuesday at like 2 o'clock. And this is the 3rd week, and we're going to finish this painting this week. And if you've been watching, they're all alla prima painting projects from Angela's book, which, as I always say, if you don't have this yet, you need it because it's beautiful and it's inspiring.
Yeah.
And we did the first project you did was the bird on the branch. And then the second project, which we're going to finish up today, is the still life with flowers. And because the flowers faded, you took a picture.
Right.
So you're going to fill in the blanks from the picture. Okay.
Yeah.
And I love the chickadees.
Yeah, chickadees are one of my favorite. They're so fun to paint.
Well, you said the black and white sort of goes with any background color. And I liked when you said that.
Yeah, it does. So I'm going to just adjust this so that people can see it better. So this easel has like these little wheels on the back, so you can adjust.
That's your spiffy new easel.
Yeah, I'm liking it so far.
I want to say hi to Wanda. Rose said she loves the beveled edge. It adds more texture. I agree with you, Ro. And hi, Mia. Got a couple people watching.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, for sure. I really like it.
Okay, so I'm just going to grab, I'm just trying to think where I want to put this.
And last week, I loved how you filled the background in with that big mop brush. I took a blush brush out of my drawer the other day and I was like, oh, it's a mop brush. I just want to put blush everywhere.
It is a mop brush. Yeah, it's a form of a mop brush. It's kind of the same style.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to grab my water, so I'll be right back.
That's okay. Take your time. I'm going to say hi to Cecilia, and we have 12 folks watching, which is wonderful. And this is something that's just, I love to do for the community. We just pause our week. I'm in the middle of my work day. Angela's been busy painting. I'm organizing at the gallery. We just want to thank everybody for joining us. It's just a half-hour session, and I love that Angela is so willing to share her expertise, and hopefully she'll be able to come in November for Friendsgiving. And we have 15 people watching, which is awesome, Angela. So this is truly a gift that you give to everyone. And I want to thank everybody for doing it. And I'm getting a DM. People want to know where I'm sitting in front of the gallery.
Oh, okay.
I try to sit someplace different every week. And right now I'm in front of a Debbie Tebow display. I'm getting ready to do an IGTV episode and a Facebook group show on Debbie Tebow. So I thought it would be fun to sit in front of Debbie's work. And if you guys know, these are Debbie's pieces, which are molded paper mache. So in the spirit of texture and color, I just thought I'd sit in front of Debbie's work. Besides the fact that the rest of the gallery is completely trashed. So I have to pick like a tiny corner to sit in.
Well, that looks lovely.
Oh, good.
There's a lot of texture with the fabrics and
that's right. And
all the different.
I added some lace for texture. I brought all these little laces. And,
I love that.
And then I can't stop myself. I have all these buttons, and I just, you know what? You give me a theme and I just dive right in. So
that's a special talent.
It's texture and color. And I had a lot of fun getting ready. This was my piece I sort of looked at before I got ready that you sent, the purple zinnia with the bead. This is my favorite of the pieces you just sent. I just love it.
I love zinnias too. And I have more coming, including, I forgot this one last week. So
I was wondering about that piece.
Yeah. And a few others that have to be mounted on special blocks. So
get them when you can. And when they all get here, I'll do a sort of show for, if anyone is watching and is not in the insiders group, it's called Jen's Earth Angels on Facebook. And what happens is the art comes in from the artists and I try to share it to the group at sort of treat pricing before I put it to the website or before I email out to everybody. It's a thank you to my most ardent supporters, my friends, my fans, and my followers. So, and Mary's watching, and Barbette. Hey, everybody. I hope I get to say hello to everybody. And Mary says she loves Debbie's pieces. I love Debbie's pieces too. And Christy, look at that. There's our Wonder Twin Powers ring, Christy. Christy and I love to wear a big ring. So.
Okay. So,
all right.
I've decided the background's a little too dark for the flowers. So there's several things you can do. You can, I like the bottom, but I think I'm going to lighten this just a little bit so that the flowers stand out more. But there's several ways that you can separate the flowers from the background or any kind of painting in general. So mainly, like if you can see, these ones stand out a lot more because the value is much lighter than in the backgrounds. Actually, I think I should make the background darker and then lighten up the flowers because that's what it looks like here.
So the contrast in color will make it sort of step out in terms of depth.
Yeah, color and the value. It needs to be a lot lighter. The flowers need to be lightened up. So I'll bring them out. I'll lighten them up. The ways that you can differentiate, separate like the background from the object is either through the values changes or color changes, or you could even literally draw a line if they're very similar.
Okay.
Just to get the effect you want. So in fact, I'm gonna actually do that a little bit in some areas, like literally just draw a line. You can, like I said, you can do that.
Okay. And Angela, for everybody that's watching, what we had a request, Angela, last week, everybody loved they loved watching you work. And then at the end, when you held the piece up really close to the camera, like when I hold a piece up really close, people do, they asked if you could give us a really slow tour on the camera of the piece.
Okay, I will when we're done then.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, any kind of palette knife. Some people ask if I actually paint with a palette knife, and sometimes I do, but usually I just use a brush.
Okay.
So, but they wonder if it's the knife that makes my, like the thick brush strokes.
Right.
But it's just a bigger paintbrush with lots of paint.
And you're mixing your paints. I loved how you show in your book, and this is something we talk about every week, at the beginning of Angela's book, which, you know, is really just to encourage people to play with paint. And yeah, she sets up the palette. And then you said you even record the paints that you use so you can go back to it, which I think is really clever.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just do this on my left. So we definitely need more pinks. So I'm not sure exactly where to, I'll try to keep it on here, but
that's okay. Do whatever you need to do. I think everybody's enjoying watching. And
okay.
I just want to say thank you to Christy Jones-Ray for moderating. What happens with these sessions, because a lot of people have been asking how we do this, we're going to do it again at 5 o'clock today. We're going to studio hop to Spain to chat with my friend Antonio, who's a very talented Blythe artist. And Christy Jones-Ray is going to moderate these sessions, because while we're using Zoom and we're sort of hijacking the Zoom technology from Facebook, I can't also see Facebook. So we're sort of operating in a vacuum. So Christy is texting us and letting me know whoever's making a comment, and then the content of the comments within the section. So if you're commenting on this post right now, it's Christy that's seeing it and texting me and moderating. So thank you. Wanda says she loves all your paintings. And I have to say, Angela, I love your paintings visually. And what's happened is I've gotten to know you over time, and I've also had the opportunity to watch you work in person. And then through these sessions, I have developed a profound appreciation for your inimitable style, and getting to know you. When I look at your paintings now, I think of you. I think of these times watching you. I think of all that you've taught me. And I'm just so grateful, because it adds another layer to the texture and the color of the painting. So this has been just such an illuminating thing for me to watch you work. It really makes me appreciate everything you do so much more.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So now I'm just trying to add more like of the smaller details, and probably go down to a smaller brush, and more like highlights, and then just like some maybe individual petals. Peonies are really hard because these are just kind of crazy. It's a lot of detail, and you don't necessarily want to get every single petal.
I love in a bouquet of peonies, you sort of can't tell when one flower stops and another begins. They feel like, I mean, they're sort of like the wool pom-pom of the flower world. You just can't, they're all stuck together, and they're my favorite, and I love them. But they don't have, it's not like looking at a bouquet of tulips or daisies where you feel like a very definitive thing. Does that make them harder to paint?
It can, but I think in oil or acrylic, it's really fun to paint peonies. So, because there is a little bit of chaos involved.
I like that chaos.
Yeah. So now I'm going to mix up some green for the leaves. So I'll just take the yellow and
I also want to say hi to Lauren, who's joined us. Lauren, thank you. I just want to do a special shout out to Lauren Corbin. Lauren Corbin is a friend to Earth Angels who always comments on all our posts. And Lauren, I really appreciate your enthusiasm. It means a lot to me that you take the time to like each photo and help us celebrate the style and artistry of the artists with whom I do business. So special shout out, Lauren. I know you're watching, and I just wanted to say thank you. It means a lot.
So sometimes I'm going to add the opposite of green on the color wheel, which is red, to tone down this because it's a little too bright. So that'll tone it down a little bit. You could also add some black. But sometimes the colors right out of the tube are just too bright and too.
You've talked about that. You've talked about tinting a color with white, and you've talked about shading a color with the black. And I think about color probably more than the average person, because my dad was a commercial lithographer. So I learned about color very differently and absorb it perhaps differently when I see something. I still am riveted when I go into like a hardware store or Lowe's and they have all those free samples of paint chips. I have to go to the paint chip rack, and I'm like, I love all the color.
Yeah.
Let me pretend I'm shopping for paint and pick a few.
Yeah, I used to, even as a kid, I would always take those home, like sneak them home.
I love them.
And then you buy it, and then but like it's different on a tiny little square than on your entire
Oh,
room.
completely. I know, you're right.
I remember I did that with yellow once, and it was like a lemon. My room looked like a lemon. So yeah, so this is coming along. So now I'll just do also some darks, like is if you look at this picture, it's like got a lot of highlights and a lot of lowlights, I guess you could say. So
And I also want to just do a shout out. Hello, Olaf. Olaf is our dear friend from Germany who's watching with us. Olaf will be on again at 5 o'clock with another European artist from Spain. And Olaf is a friend from Teddy Bear Total, a good friend to Letty Worley and I. And Olaf, I miss you so much. I'm sorry that we can't travel right now. I hope that we get through this time and we're up to our old tricks and traveling again. And hopefully I'll be back in Germany soon. But this, I see what you're doing, Angela. I'm just watching it. It's almost like coming out as you lighten it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
when I'm painting, it's hard for me to talk sometimes.
Well, I'll keep talking and you can ignore us.
Okay.
You just do whatever you're doing.
Okay.
I think one of the things that's really interesting is that if anyone has paged through Angela's book, and then watched her work, the rhythm of the projects within the book really do move along. And this is the first project she did with us was 2 bluebirds. And literally in the book, they take shape. And Angela is showing how to paint in her style. But from watching her teach here at the gallery, what's wonderful is when Angela teaches, it's not like a paint and sip where everybody does the same thing. She really teaches technique to encourage and enable each person to use the techniques, to use the good habits that are within the book about keeping the supplies handy, having a temporary palette, investing in some good brushes and good paints, not every color, just some that you know you're going to use, and then allowing you to work on a project and then revisit it. And so that's what's so satisfying about this book, is because you really get the start to the finish, and then a celebration sort of your style, but with techniques being taught that people can adapt. And that I think is really key for everybody.
Yeah, so it's already, I feel like, starting to come alive.
It feels fuller, it feels rounder.
Yeah. Sometimes you make mistakes and then you just have to go with the flow. So like I'll cover that up with some.
Do you have to wait for it to dry to cover it up?
No, this is pretty much wet on wet.
Okay.
And another thing I was going to say about like the white flowers are never like pure white.
Okay.
And they're just like lots of different tones of grays usually. So if you're painting white flowers, just remember to mix up a lot of different grays. And it can be cool grays and warm grays. So yeah, like there's hardly any pure white ever.
Gotcha. Right.
Painting. I think that's one mistake for beginning artists, is they use too much white.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At least that was my problem. And I see that a lot with like novice artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
So they need to do.
You've cautioned everyone about using just paint out of the tube, because I think sometimes people are afraid to mix the paint. But if you're going back to a project, what you taught me was you have the paints, you're going to go back to the project. If you're playing with the same colors, as you mix them, they're going to be reflective in the painting when you go back to it. And
Yeah.
you know, the paint out of the tube almost feels too fierce. It almost feels too intense, and you sort of mellow it with the white, or you know, tone it up with the black that you add.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
So yeah, so let me just add a little more. I'm kind of I do wish I could find there's a green I'm looking for. Hang on just a second.
That's okay, take your time. I want to say hi to Linda, who's watching. Thank you so much, Christy Jones-Ray, for moderating. I really appreciate it. And if you guys are watching, Angela does a live painting demo for friends and fans and followers of Earth Angel Studios every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And it's a bright spot in my week because it gets me to pause and really, I love to be surrounded by handmade and I love to be surrounded by art. And I'm so grateful to all of my clients and customers who support Angela and purchase paintings. And I think it's so wonderful for Angela as a painter. I sell Angela's paintings, but here she is teaching and encouraging people to paint as well. And it's just deepened my appreciation for her work and my respect for her as an artist because she is willing to share. And so much of what I've been able to accomplish in business has been because the artists that I work with are very confident. They're very accomplished. They're very good at what they do. They are experts and they're willing to share their style. They're willing to share their story. And it's not threatening. It's just a way for us to appreciate what they do all the more. They're not threatened by sharing what they do. And for me, it really makes me respect those artists more that are willing to, in celebrating their work, are willing to share and teach. And that's that inspiration factor. Raising the inspiration quotient is just huge.
Yeah, so I found what I was looking for, which was
what's the name of it?
It's Jenkins Green.
Jenkins Green, I like it.
Yeah, because the green that I'm using a cobalt blue and a cadmium yellow, and they just make a very light green, and there's no way to make it darker.
Okay.
So this is nice because it's just a really dark, transparent green.
Do you fall in love with certain colors?
Yeah, I do. One of my favorites, which most artists don't even really use a lot, is cerulean blue. I like that a lot. And then what else? I like cobalt turquoise. I like a lot of different blues, I think.
I was reading about how Crayola retires colors every year, and I can remember sitting with that box of 64 crayons as a kid and teaching myself, I mean, just happy to organize the crayons in the box and make the rainbow or organize all the yellows and to study color and to see what looked like what and to memorize those names. I'm positive it's great training for the SAT if you read the Crayola colors, because it's really? I said to Ben Ashby isn't watching, but I said the other day, I said to him, Celadon. He goes, what's that? I said, it's like a celery green. It was a Crayola color.
Right, or chartreuse.
Chartreuse, or wait, puce. That's
Which one?
Puce. That wasn't one I used a lot.
I haven't heard of that.
They must have retired that in the 70s. It was big when avocado and burnt umber, when all the appliances were that gold, orange, or green. And Tupperware was gold. It was like 1979.
Yeah, I remember.
You remember?
Like Harvest Gold.
Yeah, Harvest Gold. It was terrible.
Yeah, no, my mother was one of those Tupperware representatives.
My mother's best friend was a Tupperware lady, and I used to help Lorraine with the parties. It was like, she taught me so much. I loved it. Lugging the bags in for her.
Yeah.
Loved all the mini Tupperware favors you got.
Yeah.
The little
toys and everything.
They're perfect size for Blythe.
Yeah, and the popsicles and everything. Yeah, those were the days. So yeah, and I always wondered about it would be a great job to be a colored someone who names all the colors, like for cosmetics or crayons. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, I'm going to read you my lipstick color now. What color is my lipstick? It's called Paint Me.
Paint Me. Okay. Yeah, those are very creative.
You know, they say you can tell a lot about a person by the way they wear their lipstick down.
Oh, really?
Yes. This shows I'm very intense. See the shape?
Oh, by the way the actual lipstick looks. Interesting.
And I always wear my lipstick down to like this fierce point.
Oh, wow.
And
you must be intense. I think mine's kind of flat.
My mother's was always perfectly flat. I was like, what is that? Like she would turn it till it was flat. Mine gets so pointy, it breaks off.
Oh, okay. Well, That is probably your personality.
We'll have to do a psychological survey. Christy
That
Jones
sounds
Gray,
great.
you're watching. I want to
We're
know.
all going to, like spontaneously have to show our lipstick.
Yeah, I guess show us look at your lipstick and tell us what that says about you.
Yeah. So, okay, so I think maybe I'll show you where we're at right now.
Yeah, I'd love to see it up close. That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Oh, it's beautiful, Angela. I remember seeing the blooms that day, and now to see them captured in this way is wonderful. I love it. Look at the text. So our theme this week at the gallery is color and texture, and I just can't think of a better studio hop to start off with for this week to celebrate color and texture with you, Angela. I love it.
Yeah, so what we did today was just focus on like highlights and lowlights and just adding some more detail. It's still like you can see it's very loosey-goosey.
I like loose. I don't have
Yeah.
a problem with loose. I really like loose because I had this conversation once with my ophthalmologist, and I can't get perfect vision. And so I said to him, it's like blur interpretation, like your brain fills in what you can't really see.
Right.
When you see something loose in art or abstract in art, I think it leaves room for you to sort of interpret what you're seeing, and it's very freeing. So I love when you do really loose paintings. I have one over here of magnolia. Are those magnolia blooms behind you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you
I'm
show us?
working on that.
Can you show us?
Sure, that's a work in process.
Okay, because I love how loose your flowers are, because I feel like I love that. That's incredible.
Yeah, this is tighter than usual, and I'm going to change the background of this so that the branches and work on the branches and I'm probably going to add more paint to the flowers.
So how everyone thinks the Peonies painting is beautiful. I have a question that's coming through to me by text, actually. A friend who's watching wants to know, how do you decide when it's done? Is there a point where you look at it and you feel that it's completed, or do you like have to leave it? How do you decide when the painting's done?
It's, for me, I just kind of have an instinct of when to stop.
Okay.
But then there's times when I go back, and I've heard of other famous painters that will have paintings like 2 years later, they'll take it off their wall and start working on it again.
Really?
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing with this magnolia painting. It's over 2 years old, but I've had it in storage, and I brought it out again to work on it because I wasn't happy with it, but I just wanted to take a break from it and come back with a fresh perspective. I think some people do have a tendency to overwork paintings. So,
Okay.
and a lot of times if it's not going the way, it's not going well, you tend to want to overwork something.
Okay.
And so it's, I think, a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, and there's no harm in walking away from a piece, coming back. And like you said before, if you make what you perceive as, I mean, there's no really rules in painting, but
right,
if you make what you perceive as a mistake, just cover it.
Yeah.
Do it over.
To be honest, a lot of times I like the rough draft better than the final project.
Really?
Even with like art in museums, sometimes with famous artists, I like their sketches.
Yeah.
And more than the final work.
Is that like when, I mean, I've sold things for many years to people, and I always tell people to go with their first choice. Like they may be looking at two things and they instantly gravitate towards one thing. And they're like, well, wait, I mean, I think it's human nature to doubt and to question.
Yeah.
I mean, fear is what keeps us alive. But I think then they sort of back up and they can't decide. And I always say, if you go with your instinct, if you go with your first choice, you're usually happier in the long run. Okay.
Yeah, and just have fun. Just paint.
I love that. That's like the best thing you could possibly say to people. Just have fun and paint.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you for doing this for us, Angela. We've gone our half hour, and Christy is telling us that people have really, really enjoyed watching you and are saying thank you for sharing, and that it's fabulous, and it's really a peek into your world. Would you do this for us again? Maybe start another project?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay. I would really love that. So thank you so much, Angela.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
You're the best.
Thanks,
You always-
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday at 2 o'clock for Angela. And if you're around today at 5 o'clock, we have a Zoom with Antonio.
Oh, okay.
He's wonderful. Papa Taranjo. Everybody knows him as Papa Taranjo.
Okay.
So if you're around at 5 o'clock, he's never done a Zoom before. He hasn't met our friends, fans, and followers before, and I'm absolutely tickled he wants to do this. It's going to be 11 o'clock in Spain.
Oh, wow.
But he's willing to do it. So
Awesome.
I just said, absolutely. He's working today. He's very busy, but he said he was free at 5. So if you are, it'll be a chance to meet another one of the angels.
Okay, that's great. Okay, sounds fun.
Well, thank you, Angela. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.